Hey everybody, I'm gonna start this one off.
What up?
So today, you've been talking about it a while. It's come up in a few of our videos. You've been playing it now for a little while.
I have.
Had a couple sessions in.
Yes, I have.
Let's talk about Shadow of the Demon Lord. Your new favorite baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
It's your
I talk
favorite?
about it a lot. I've literally read this book at this point, like from beginning to end, probably 3 or 4 times.
Okay, so let's tell them about it. Where'd it come from? What was it inspired by?
So, this game was designed by Robert J. Schwalb. He was one of the original design team members of the 5th edition book.
Like 3 years on the team, right?
3 years?
Yeah.
Ish, if not more. At least 3.
The book says 3,
Yeah.
so.
So he's got a little bit of experience in this. The whole idea from this came from when he was making D&D that it was not his baby.
So what did he borrow from? Where did he pull from?
So
What inspired?
if you could take this game and describe it in basically one sentence, it's actually in the forewording. And this foreword is going to come from Chris Pramas, and I quote, "It's like if D&D and Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay had a baby and then spent 9 months in the womb listening to metal."
What kind of setting does this game have?
So the game itself takes place during pretty much the starting of the end of times.
So it's apocalyptic.
Pre-apocalyptic, almost about to be apocalypse kind of thing. What's really rad is you as players, obviously, you've got the cliche that you're working towards the same goal, yada yada
Right.
yada. But in my opinion, I think what would really be a super dope twist for this one specifically is it plays so well into having like an evil campaign, because
Everybody's out for themselves.
you could be like the
Yeah.
4 horsemen essentially.
You're not the bad guys. We are.
Duh.
Mechanically, is there anything that stands out here? Anything that they did different? Anything that they borrowed or
So-
changed? Or
There's some really interesting things in this game that I really happen to like. They do.
what's the base of their
It's a
mechanics?
D20 system. It's
Base
a very
D20.
simple D20 system. Pretty much base rolls, anything above a 10 is a success.
Okay. Coming from him being on the D&D team, I have to ask, how do they handle advantage, disadvantage?
It actually is one of the things that I really like about it, and it was also done in Lancer.
Mhm.
It's all done on what they call banes and boons.
D6.
A boon.
Okay.
It's a boon. Is advantage. Disadvantage is bane.
And then if they cancel out, you just remove dice until
Yep.
you're left with whatever's left.
Just like it was in City of Mist and
I like
most
that.
of those other things.
I think it's a better system.
I like it too, because at any given time, like, yes, because this game can sometimes really be skewed against the players, you can basically be one shot and killed outright pretty much in your first game session
Yeah.
if you're not careful. One thing that's also unique to this game is the turn system, because you have slow turns and you have what they call fast turns. You can either move or take an action. And then if nobody wants to take the fast turn, then it goes to slow turn, which is what people are going to be more familiar with, the move action kind of thing.
Discord, podcast, Instagram,
Twitter,
everything.
subscribe, like.
Click the bell so
Yeah,
you know
it's
when our
important,
stuff
it's
goes
important.
up. And yeah,
Something else that's extremely unique that I definitely want to mention in this is the sanity system.
okay. So they had, so it's not just a D20. They also added a sanity on top of
There's
it.
some
Cool,
sanity
cool,
stuff that
cool.
goes on. As you start progressing through this game, you will start taking ticks on your sanity. Once you basically fill up the sanity, some really bad things can happen, like depending on your roll, you get a table. Worst case scenario, roll a 1, your character's dead, and that's all she wrote.
Sounds pretty normal.
But what's super rad too is the higher you roll, the better it gets, I would say. Like up to rolling the 20, you basically kind of take this horrific situation, you kind of harness it, and you have this epic revelation, remove the sanity that you've already gained,
Okay.
and then basically empower yourself.
And
by
be
it.
fine. You have some catharsis moments.
Yeah,
It's
you're like,
fine.
whoa, that's it.
fine. Tell me about stats. What are players going to be doing for their stats?
In the core book, the stats are basically determined by your ancestry, like your races. And the races,
Got
you've got your orcs, you've got your dwarfs, you've got your humans, you've got changelings.
I did also see Clockworks in there, and it made me go.
It's like a
"Yay!"
construct, yeah.
Yeah.
But the stats are predetermined by your race, and as you start leveling up, they will start going up. So it's a flat bonus, so you're not rolling for them now.
Okay. So flat stats.
Mhm.
What about what people would consider the class?
You're gonna have your novice path, you're gonna have your expert path, and then you're gonna have a master path.
So say I'm level 0. I started. I'm a dwarf, and I think it'd be cool to be a rogue. I'm gonna be a rogue. I'm gonna be the sneaky guy. We get a couple sessions in, and I go, you know what? I think I think I'm just going to start being upfront.
It is, in my opinion, what multi-classing should have been in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Because you don't really take negatives. You're always gaining bonuses.
Yeah.
Now you can, which would be the closest to multi-classing in it. Once you hit level 7, when you get to select your master path, you can go back and choose a secondary expert path. At that point, you can max out essentially one of the expert paths, but the secondary one I think only gets up to like level 6. Just to put this in perspective, so right from the novice path, you've got rogue, warrior, magician, priest, basic kind of 4 you would have. And then you go on your expert path, and then you have a total of 16 that you can pick from there. Like, oh, that's not too bad. But then you go from expert path, and then you go into the master path. There is a total of 64 different options that you can pick on your character.
Nice.
And that's dope. Nice. Yeah.
I like that. So how many books are there?
A lot.
How many books do you need to play?
I would recommend, honestly, probably 1 for the core book. It wouldn't be a bad idea to get the occult philosophy book because there's a lot more spells in it. And it also has some information that you can go into about progressing past level 10.
Okay.
Because this is kind of like where the game, I can understand people can like, wait a minute. Can be turn people off.
Lancer does it too. It was the first game I saw that did it. Where every session you gain a level, and then at round session 10, session 12, somewhere around in there is when the campaign's supposed to end.
The game campaign alone, your characters can only cap out at level 10 per what's in the core book. There's another thing too that the game mentions in it that helps with a lot of that stuff too. Based on like when you start going across your paths, once you get to your master path, they want you to be sent out on this epic quest to basically find your power kind of thing. Have the I am the power moment.
Nice. So you have your capstone moment.
Yeah, it's a capstone moment, and you have it at the table, and then you basically kind of have that. All right, let's go kick ass.
It's time.
I do want to mention one thing though before we close out. One thing that's really, really awesome in this game, in this book that I've read, is it has in my opinion, one of the best how to run a game sections of any book I've ever read. It is very easy to understand. It explains balancing very well, the do's and don'ts, and like even like, hey, you realize you've made a mistake, let's fix that kind of thing. I would definitely read this part for anybody that has the intention of running a game, or maybe just wants to fine tune some things, because it's fantastic.
Yeah, there were a few things in the DM's part or the guides part of that book where it was, yeah, I'm going to use this in something else. The same way with like Blades in the Dark, I took their clock thing and went, yep, I'm using that other places because that's a better way to track things. There's a couple tools in this as well, and there's lots of good tables in this as well.
It's very good. Yeah.
If this sounded interesting at all, we did cover 3 other ones that are coming out soon that we talked about up here somewhere. Right. Mm-hmm. We'll see you in about a week with more.
Yep. Stay awesome, be excellent, and love each other. Peace.